Welcome back to Making AI Make Sense. Today we're tackling one of the most misunderstood concepts in AI, fine-tuning. And I'm willing to bet that what you think fine-tuning means isn't actually what it does. This is video 11 in the series, and it completes a trilogy we started a few videos back. By the end, you'll have the complete framework for customizing AI. No more confusion about which approach to use. So let's dive in. Here's the thing. Everyone throws around the term fine tuning like they know what it means. I hear it constantly in business meetings, on LinkedIn, and sales pitches, and 90% of the time, the person using the term doesn't actually understand what they're asking for. Someone will say, we need to fine tune ChatGPT on our data. And I already know what's going to happen. They're going to spend a lot of money on solving the wrong problem. Or they'll ask, can you fine tune it to know our products? And that question reveals a fundamental misunderstanding about what fine tuning actually does. The worst one? Just fine tune it to be smarter. That's not how any of this works. So let's clear this up once and for all, because understanding fine tuning, and more importantly, understanding when you don't need it, could save you thousands of dollars and weeks of wasted effort. Before we talk about fine tuning, quick context on where we are in this series. We've already covered two major ways to customize AI behavior. Video 8 was about prompting, including your data directly in your instructions to the AI. Free, immediate, perfect for one-off tasks. Video 9 covered RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation, which gives AI automated access to your knowledge base so it can pull information when needed. Today is video 11, and we're completing this trilogy with fine-tuning. This is the third approach, and it solves a completely different problem than the other two. That's the key insight. These aren't competing options when one is better than the other. They solve different problems. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which tool to reach for when. To understand fine-tuning, let's use an analogy that makes the concept crystal clear. Imagine you run a restaurant. Your chef is good, knows how to cook, understands technique, has the fundamentals down, but you need to change how they cook. Maybe you want them to follow your specific recipes, or adopt a particular presentation style, or learn a signature technique that defines your restaurant. How do you accomplish all that? Well, you have three fundamentally different options, and these three options map directly to the three AI customization models we've been discussing. Once you understand this analogy, fine-tuning will make perfect sense. Option 1. You hand the chef a recipe card for today's special. Here's what we're making tonight, follow this exactly. That's prompting. Quick, flexible, different every time, requires detailed instructions each time. Option 2. You give the chef access to a recipe library. These are all our recipes, look them up as you need them. That's RAG. The chef can reference knowledge when needed, but you're not changing how they fundamentally cook. You're just giving them access to information. Option 3, you send the chef for additional training to learn a specific technique. They practice it hundreds of times until it becomes muscle memory. From that point forward, they automatically execute that technique without thinking. That's fine tuning. Notice what's different about option 3. You're not giving instructions for each dish. You're not providing recipes to reference. You're changing the chef's default behavior through repetition and reinforcement. And here's the critical point. You wouldn't send a chef to culinary school just to make tonight's special, right? That would be absurd. The investment only makes sense when you need consistent execution of the same technique over and over again. Same thing with AI and fine tuning. So here's what fine tuning actually does. It teaches an AI model to consistently reproduce specific patterns of behavior. You show the model hundreds or thousands of examples of exactly how you want it to behave. The AI learns the underlying pattern. And then from that point forward, it automatically replicates that pattern without you having to spell it out every single time. But here's what fine tuning is not. It's not adding facts or knowledge. That's what RAG does. It's not rebuilding the model from scratch. That's pre-training, which costs millions. And it's definitely not making AI smarter or more capable. Think of it this way. Fine-tuning teaches how to respond, not what to know. This distinction is absolutely critical, and most people get it backwards. Let's make this distinction even clearer because this is where 90% of the confusion happens. Fine-tuning teaches behavioral patterns. It teaches the AI to structure responses in your preferred format, to use a consistent tone and voice, to follow a specific output format automatically, to handle certain task types the same way every time. What fine-tuning does not teach your product specifications, company history, current policies, customer data, facts that change over time, any information whatsoever. Here's the test. If your sentence starts with, I need the AI to know, then you don't want fine tuning. You want RAG. RAG is for knowledge. Fine tuning is for behavior. If your sentence starts with, I need the AI to always, then maybe you want fine tuning. We'll get to whether it's worth it in a minute. But first, let's look at what this actually looks like in practice. So imagine you're building a customer support system. Without fine tuning, every single response requires a massive prompt. You have to specify use this format, maintain this tone, include these sections, follow the structure. That's 300 words of instructions every time just to get consistent output. And even then, the format varies. The tone shifts. Sometimes it includes the right sections, sometimes it doesn't. It's time consuming, inconsistent, and frankly unprofessional when customers get wildly different responses depending on which support ticket they sent. With fine tuning, you show the model 1,000 examples of perfect support responses. It learns your company format, it learns your brand voice, it learns to automatically structure responses with the right sections. And from that point forward, minimal prompting is needed. You just describe the customer's issue and the AI handles the formatting automatically. The result? Efficient, consistent, professional. Every customer gets the same level of polish. That's fine tuning sweet spot. High volume tasks that demand identical formatting. Here's another powerful use case. Let's say you process hundreds of invoices, receipts, or contracts every day. They arrive in dozens of different formats. Some are PDFs with tables, some are scanned images with unstructured text, some are emails with information scattered everywhere. A fine-tuned model has seen thousands of examples of your desired output structure. It knows exactly which fields to extract and how to format them. So regardless of how messy the input is, you get data in the exact same structure every single time. No prompting needed, no variation, completely automatic. This is where fine-tuning shines. Repetitive extraction tasks where consistency is non-negotiable. Legal documents, financial reports, compliance forms, anywhere that format variation would cause downstream problems. So when does fine-tuning actually make sense? There are 5 clear indicators. First, you need identical formatting every single time. We're talking zero variation allowed. Legal filings, regulatory reports, anything where slight format differences could cause problems. Second, your industry has specialized workflows that general AI models just don't understand. Medical coding, legal citation formats, technical specification sheets, domain-specific structures that don't exist in the AI's training data. Third, your brand has a very specific voice that must be maintained across thousands of AI-generated pieces, and detailed prompting alone isn't achieving the consistency you need. Fourth, you're performing the same specialized tasks thousands or tens of thousands of times. When you're operating at that volume, the investment in fine-tuning pays for itself. And fifth, you've already tried detailed prompts, you've experimented with different approaches, and you still can't get consistent results. The task is too nuanced for prompting alone. If you're not along to several of these, fine-tuning might actually be the right solution. But before you commit, here are the warning signs that fine-tuning is probably overkill. If your goal is getting AI to access your documents, stop. That's RAG, not fine-tuning. Don't confuse retrieval with behavior modification. If you're doing something occasionally, even a long detailed prompt is more cost-effective than fine-tuning. Fine-tuning only makes sense at serious scale. And if you want AI to know facts, again, that's RAG. Fine-tuning doesn't teach information. If detailed prompts already give you acceptable results, then you're done. Don't optimize something that isn't broken just because fine-tuning sounds more impressive. And if your requirements change frequently, fine-tuning's inflexibility will become a liability. It's semi-permanent. If you need flexibility week to week, stick with prompting. Honestly, this slide might be more important than the previous one. Most businesses waste money fine-tuning when simpler solutions would work better. So let's talk about the money and time, because that is where fine-tuning separates itself from the other approaches. Prompting costs nothing extra and is instant. RAG might cost a few hundred to a couple thousand in setup and has ongoing costs, but it's still relatively accessible. Fine tuning? We're talking $1,000 to $10,000 or more, weeks to months of work, and you need someone with advanced technical experience. These aren't trivial differences. We're talking about orders of magnitude in both cost and complexity. The investment in fine tuning is significant. You need to be absolutely certain the benefits justify the cost. And for most businesses starting out with AI, they don't. And fine tuning isn't just expensive in dollars, it demands serious resources. You need hundreds to thousands of high quality training examples. And I mean high quality. These examples must show exactly the behavior you want, formatted correctly, consistent across all examples. All your training data must follow the same pattern. Inconsistent examples produce inconsistent models. This often requires significant data cleaning work. You need API access and proper technical configuration. This isn't a point and click interface in ChatGPT. You're writing code, managing training jobs, and understanding hyperparameters. Your first attempt won't be perfect. Expect multiple rounds of testing and retraining before you get results you're happy with. And someone on the team needs to actually understand machine learning concepts, evaluation metrics, troubleshooting. This isn't a task you can just hand off to anyone. I'm not trying to scare you off. I'm being realistic about what you're signing up for. Now let's bust two massive misconceptions. The first myth is fine tuning makes AI smarter. People imagine fine tuning like sending the AI to graduate school. It comes back more intelligent, more knowledgeable, more capable. This leads to wildly unrealistic expectations. Here's the reality: fine tuning reinforces specific patterns and behaviors. The AI doesn't become more intelligent, it becomes more consistent at following the patterns you've shown it. Back to our chef analogy, teaching a chef a signature cooking technique doesn't make them know more recipes. It doesn't make them understand food chemistry better. It just makes them consistently execute that one specific style. Same with AI. Fine tuning doesn't increase intelligence, it increases consistency of behavior. The second myth, and this is probably the most common, uploading files to ChatGPT counts as fine tuning. I hear this consistently. Someone builds a custom GPT, uploads some documents, and tells everyone they fine tuned ChatGPT on their data. That's not fine tuning, it's not even close. What you're actually doing is prompting with context. You're including information in the conversation that the AI can reference. That's valuable, but that's not fine tuning. Real fine tuning requires API access, technical setup, training data in very specific formats, and actual modification of the model's weight through a training process. Here's the truth: what most people actually want when they say fine tuning is RAG. They want to give the AI access to their knowledge base. That's a completely different approach, and it's much easier to implement. If you think you want fine tuning, but you haven't written any code, you probably want RAG instead. So, how do you decide? Well, you start with the problem you're actually trying to solve. Be specific. If you need AI to access information, if the problem is that it doesn't know about your products, services, or policies, you need RAG. That's retrieval, not fine tuning. If you need consistent behavior at high volume, if you're doing the same task thousands of times and format must be identical, consider fine tuning. If your needs change frequently or you're not operating at massive scale, stick with prompting. It's flexible and cost effective. The key is matching the tool to the actual problem, not jumping to fine tuning because it sounds advanced. Here's something that often gets overlooked: these three approaches aren't mutually exclusive. The most sophisticated AI systems combine all three. Think of an enterprise customer support system. RAG retrieves customer history from your database. Fine tuning ensures responses follow your company's formatting style. And prompting handles the specific details of this particular customer's unique situation. Each approach does what it does best. RAG brings the knowledge. Fine tuning maintains the brand consistency. Prompting handles the specifics. This creates a solution more powerful than any single approach alone. They're complementary, not competing. And here's the honest truth many AI consultants won't tell you: most businesses should start much simpler than fine tuning. There's a natural progression. Everyone starts with prompting, testing whether AI can even do the task, proving the concept works. Some businesses upgrade to RAG when they need document access. Only a few businesses with proven high volume needs should consider fine tuning. Start with prompting. Prove the value before investing more. Once you've established value and need document access, add RAG. It's still relatively low investment with high flexibility. Only consider fine tuning after you've proven ROI at scale and have clear, unchanging consistency requirements. Don't skip steps. Don't jump to fine tuning prematurely just because it sounds more impressive. The progression exists for good reason. And if you remember one thing from this video, make it this. Fine tuning teaches behavior, not facts. Prompting gives specific instructions. Use it for one off tasks. RAG retrieves knowledge from documents. Use it when you need access to information. Fine tuning reinforces consistent patterns. Use it for high volume repetitive tasks. Match the tool to the problem. Don't jump to fine tuning because it sounds advanced. Start simple and only add complexity when you've proven you actually need it. Congratulations! You now understand all 3 fundamental ways to customize AI. This trilogy gives you the complete framework for making intelligent decisions about AI implementation. Video 8 covered training versus prompting. Video 9 covered RAG. And today, Video 11 covered fine-tuning. You've got the full picture. If this kind of plain English AI education is valuable, subscribe for more. No hype, no buzzwords, just practical AI frameworks for real business decisions. And if you need help figuring out which approach actually fits your situation, whether it's prompting, RAG, fine-tuning, or some combination, let's talk through it. Visit eauclaireai.com. Thanks, and we'll see you on the next one.